you know, to ask myself that question personally, what did I do that made my body attack itself to have an autoimmune illness? I started to just dig to find an answer. In the beginning, I was listening to doctors, Western medicine doctors, and they didn't have an answer of why and how to repair myself. So I stopped looking at those doctors and I went outside of those doctors to other healers and doctors. And man, do they all have answers. And I love being part of the community that's finding out the answers, because I am part of what is awakening on the planet. Just like you are, we all are part of this planet awakening. All these eclipses that we're having, eclipses are rare and special, but we're having a lot of them. We're having double eclipses, we're having earthquakes and other significant things happening to the planet that we live, that we should be in synchronicity with, but we're not. Like, are you aware that the earth right now is wobbling? Do you know why it's wobbling? You know why it's happening, because when you have positive and negative energy working against each other, it causes this vacillation and this wobbling. Our planet, our globe is wobbling. Some people say it's wobbling out of some place that we're in right now to some other place that we don't even know where we're going. Yet every day, I am habitually doing the same things the same way, brushing my teeth the same way, eating my favorite foods, singing my favorite songs, doing my job, everything like a habit that never changes, that never falters, that never moves. Yet everything is a vibrational energy that's constantly shifting and changing. And when we align ourselves with other elements that are here on the planet, we might find ourselves coming up with some different results. So that has been kind of the direction that everything of me has turned. I am grateful for MS diagnosis, because it helped me to slow down and it helped me to appreciate my life. But in the process of slowing down to appreciate my life, I caused the most horrific damage on the way. You know, I hurt my daughters. I hurt their feelings. I hurt my husband's feelings. You know, and how we feel relates to how we think. How we think relates to how our body is. And as my body was out of sync, and I didn't know it was out of sync and not in alignment, it just got to the point that it vibrated so much, so deeply, so dark, so low were my frequencies, that I exploded. And I exploded and moved out of my home and ran as far away as I could run. And I realized right away that there was no distance that was far enough for me to run. Within a couple of months of leaving my family, it was very evident that no matter where you run to, you take yourself with you. That I already knew, but I didn't understand the concept of running. You know, I respect the fight or flight reptilian instinct that I have inside of my brain that makes me say, this isn't good for you, get out of here. But it happened in such a traumatic, significant way that I disrupted my beautiful growing family in ways that are going to take a little bit longer to repair, but are definitely vibrational repairable. And you know, as I did all of that and I did all of this and I have all of this going on, all of it made me kind of slow my big Sally, my Mustang Sally slowed down, and I realized that I was not really living the life that I wanted to live. What is that life that I want to live? What does that look like? And so began another set of explorations and journeys and studies. I appreciate myself so much, and as I figure all of this stuff out, I've started a page called patreon.com/Robbie Hall. And on that page, I have uploaded things that I've created, music videos, songs, all that kind of stuff, that I've created, that I took value in, that defined me, that made my ego feel really, really good, I put them there on that site. But in doing that, which has taken me weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks to build a Patreon page for everybody's benefit, it's taken me weeks and weeks and weeks to just discover that I am not those things at all. I am actually nothing. And I don't want to be anything. I just want to be easy, and I just would like to be love. I just would like to be light. I just would like to be kindness and happiness and music and God. And that opened up that can of worms. So I grew up Christian in an AME Zion church, which is a African Methodist Episcopalian fracture of Christianity, where black people of color like me here in the United States decided to do something differently in terms of religion, because the crock of beans that they were being fed about God's fatherhood and us being a child of God just wasn't aligning with the culture, the African culture of my ancestors, the Choctaw culture of my ancestors. So fractures of Christianity splintered off and grabbed a lot of people. AME Zionists grabbed my mother and father, and so I was raised in an AME Zion church. But as much as I loved church, and I loved everything that I experienced as a child, it was a great ride. And I still have that love in my heart for those things that I loved as a child. It's beautiful. So I love church, and I love God, and I love Jesus, and I love Christianity, and I love, 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 love. But man, when it came my turn as an adult to choose God, I got very confused, because there were a lot of other choices, and there were a lot of ways to choose God, and there was just a lot going on. So my ego stepped in and said, choose this, choose that, choose this, and choose that. Again, ego. Now competing with spirit. Conflict. They didn't align. Two different sets of vibrations, right? It affected my physical body. I think that's what autoimmune illness is for us, is that we have been so affected by the dissonance of natural things around us and supernatural things, the lower vibrations that are not conducive to love and light and God. They are in competition with those high vibrations of God, right? So all of that competition of spirit makes the mind and the body not as strong as it needs to be to survive. We are meant to survive on the planet. That's why we're in this form here now, to be here in this way on the planet. But we are so much bigger than this body that we are encased in, right? We are vibrational energies that have existed for a long, long time. I do believe that I have been here a long time. Knowing what I know of life and how I know what I know, the things that I do and the work that I do, no one taught me that. I just know it. I tried to go to college and learn new things, but it was a very difficult organization for me to fit into. And while I was in college, horrific things happened to me. You know, I don't even want to speak them, because it just gives them the power. I can feel it in my chest quaking. You know, I was raped in college, and I never talked to it with anybody. I just have held it in this place right here. It's like quaking right now, because my authentic true self is saying, like, don't keep it a secret. It doesn't fucking matter. All that shit that happened to you, it doesn't matter. But it mattered to me, because when I was in college, I was just out of my mother's house, my parents' house, and they had taught me so much protection and fear of life that's what I was walking with. And I felt that I had failed not just my parents, that I wound up in such a situation that I would be hurt and taken advantage of, especially because my mother told me, like, music, don't do that. It's all about sex, drugs, rock and roll. It's a terrible life. You'll never get anything out of it. It doesn't matter talent. It's a profession that will exploit and disturb you. And I didn't understand what she meant by that, because she didn't even know how to explain the spiritual vibrations of entertaining and ego and doing that kind of thing for others. But it still called me. I still went to it. And it's not because of anything that bad, terrible experiences happened to me. It just was the alignment that I had at the time, the energy and vibrations that I put out, the vulnerability that I walked with, made a lot of terrible things come my way. And that I associate it with learning. Not to mention, school is a very rigid, strict institution that I was already having a troubling time with when I was in high school, because I didn't fit. I was this weird, artsy kind of says what she says, does what she does, spontaneous, improvisational, whoa, she's weird kind of person. And it was before the Me Too days. I'm talking about 40 years ago. I was exactly who I am now, in a world that did not know what to do with me, in a family that did not know what to do with me, and all of that influenced my ability to align with God. And it has taken a lifetime of living and not aligning, and then aligning, and then not aligning, and in and out, and the flow, before I've realized what's going on. So I've been digging even deeper to say, like, aha, wait a minute now. There's definitely something going on. The Bible is actually a book written by man, used by man as a vehicle of manipulation, but it's based on some truths of wisdom. Some ancient wisdom has been documented in this book, the Bible, and maybe too many people found out about it when it was first written, which is why it became so popular. But the Bible is significant. There's a lot of books and papers and things that have been created. There's a lot of material things that have been created that are significant in their vibrational energy to guide us and shape us and how we align ourselves with God. And so the deeper I dig into that, the more opened, not blown, the more opened my mind becomes, the more open my heart struggles to be, because without an open heart, my mind and thoughts cannot be free. My flesh will be trapped, and my spirit will remain unaligned with God. But I'm learning more with every day. I'm understanding, or as I learned yesterday, I'm innerstanding, not under, lower, inner. Within me, I'm understanding what my purpose is. So I've started this Patreon community, not just as a way to earn income from conversations like this and edifying people and sharing my artistry, gifts, and music in the ways that only I can share them, in the ways that I don't even know yet, because as a creative, original energy that's making changes and breaking habits, I don't know what's next. I don't know what's next. And I'm okay with that. But it's thrown me into a whole new experience. That's why I'm underneath this fig tree here in Buenos Aires with my crystals and my mandarin oranges, eating a raw, natural diet. It's not organic, but it is raw. And it is definitely helping my flesh. Every yoga pose that I do, every breath that I take with mindful intention improves my existence. And what I'm inspired to do is share this good news, share this experience that I'm having on this little dark mirror, on this little dark screen with you, so that you too can align with me and we can raise our vibrations higher and align with all the other high vibrations and really make a difference on the planet. Maybe help it to stop wobbling. Maybe help evil heal. My friend asked me the other day, how could I love things that are evil and people that are mean and hateful? I said, because love is the only answer for everything. And we have to love the things we don't love. The yin and yang is a bitch, but it is what it is.